later on will, well, they'll probably know what's going on anyway. But we're here to welcome the team from Sensei. They used to primarily be an NFT sniper bot, and they've been very competitive on the market uh, when it comes to NFTs. But they also developed a DeFi sniper bot now for meme coins and such, and they're also looking to become really competitive in this area. So we collaborated with them to see what they have to offer, and Dak will explain more what Sensei is all about.
Hey, beautiful. Appreciate that. And you said it best. First of all, quick introductions. I'm Dak. I'm one of four of the core team over at Sensei. And like they just said, we predominantly were focused in the NFT space from the beginning. We've been around just about a year now. I think our 1 year anniversary from our mint date is in just a couple days coming up. But with the huge shift in meta and volume moving to meme coins, shit coins, and DeFi as a whole, obviously, like we have in the past, we wanted to pivot and really focus on driving the DeFi suite that I'm going to be walking through today and creating kind of an open platform that more people can utilize. So when I say that, before we were locked down pretty heavily. It required holding one of our NFT passes to access our suite and all of its base functions. And then if you wanted to subscribe to our Plus or our Pro plans, you still had to hold a Sensei pass to get in and upgrade. With DeFi being a much wider audience, we wanted to kind of explore new opportunities on how we can send out DeFi to the world, still have some top level features that are locked down to only our subscribers, but create more of an open platform for people to use as a trading suite. So, what we've kind of built here, or what rather we're building to, is a full public DeFi trading suite that anyone can use. Now, with that, we are going to be unloading this in seasons. So today I am going to be dropping codes in the Sensei AMA chat. I see some of you guys chatting here already, and if you search my name, Dak, you'll see that I posted a couple links, one of which is app.sensei.win/DeFi. That's the link to our DeFi specific suite, the same link that I'll be showing you here today. Mine's a bit different because I'll be in a dev environment, because I'm going to show you guys some new stuff that we haven't even really released to main yet. But by utilizing these codes, going to app.sensei.win/DeFi, and then pasting the codes that I'll be dropping randomly in the chat, you will get access to our public DeFi sector, right? Now, in Season 1, you can only access our public DeFi version with these private codes. So in essence, we're only basically talking to top level groups right now that have some of the best traders in the space, right? And we're giving these codes only to these best traders for now for Season 1. So we can give you guys a chance to A, test first, B, get a chance to play with our sniper, which we're going to lock down later on to our subscribers, but get the best feedback from the best traders in the space so that we can keep building onto this platform, ensure that it's the best in the market before we unleash it to the entire world and give it to everybody to use. So again, just as a repeat, I'll be dropping random codes here in the chat. You just utilize those by going to app.sensei.win/DeFi. And then if you use this code, it is a one-time code, so it's going to be whoever gets through the setup the fastest. That will give you lifetime access to Sensei DeFi, and you'll get access to the sniper. I'm going to be going a little bit more in depth on all the different functionalities you'll have access to, and the differences between our Plus package, our Pro package, and the free open public package. But before we do that, I'm going to drop another random code here. Good luck. Whoever wins that, you just paste that code in that Sensei DeFi link. You'll have access there as well. So just keep an eye out. I'm going to drop them randomly in the chat as we go through. But without further ado, I do want to walk through the DeFi suite here. So, starting off, we have a pretty blank slate, right? We need to search a token to pull up the chart and all the information that's available to us in the DeFi suite. So you can do that by searching a pair up here at the top, just by pasting a contract address. Now, most people are going to be in a lot of Discord or Telegram groups where they're watching out for like Dex Screener links, Dex Tools links. You just copy the end of it where they have the address at the very end of that URL, paste it here, and it's going to give you your own chart directly from Dex Screener, right? Now, this is used through the Dex Screener API, so it's rather fast. It's only going to have, I think, on average, like a 3 second-ish, 3 to 5 second lag behind using actual Dex Screener. So it's pretty fast and built right into the platform right here, right? Now, if you want to use Deck Screener directly, we do have quick links here at the top where you can click Deck Screener and you can look at the live chart directly from the Deck Screener website. Additionally, we have some options here so you can emulate a lot of the functionality from Deck Screener directly. So we have Show Trades, which has the trading bar down here. It shows you your books, your buys and sells coming through. You can expand it and contract it and reorganize it how you want. It does save in memory. So whatever placement you hold this in, it will remember it and save it when you come back to this chart. Say you want to clean it up and just have the chart view, you can remove Show Trades and just have the chart itself. And then additionally, if you want the info tab on the left, you can click Show Info to get some more trading data for like buy and selling, ratios, as well as volume and other important information. However, if you're only interested in the market cap and the liquidity available, that is something we automatically pull and post up here at the top for you. Super bold and easy to see. This is all updated live and in real time as well. On top of that, if you wanted to check a token, maybe you found it again in a group and you wanted to see what the taxes are or what are the risks for it being a honeypot. Hey, congrats, Reezy. Also, quick note, I do have another screen up with the Sensei AMA chat. So if you guys have any questions or anything you want me to see, just at DAC in that Sensei AMA chat, and I'll see it pop up immediately just like Reezy did here. So I'll be able to see that quickly for you. But circling back, we were talking about honeypot and tax checking. So again, we just have the quick links here at the top. We click honeypot, and it gives you the quick rundown, right? What are the sales tax? What are the buy tax? And does it pass the honeypot test? If you want to have a little bit deeper dive of what could be going on in a contract, specifically for ones that maybe haven't launched yet, we have a Moonarch extension. Now, this is a little bit more useful for people who are used to reading Solidity or looking into contracts and looking for red flags in the code itself, right? So what this does is it scans the contract and highlights in red or yellow. Red is going to be your big highlights, right? The ones you really want to look out for. Yellow is typically not that bad, but it's going to highlight things that you should probably look at a little bit deeper in the contract itself, just to verify and see if anything wonky could be going on. But Moonarch can be a huge help if you know what to look for. And lastly, we have a little star icon here at the left. That's your favorites icon. So if I click this favorites icon and I go to my watch list, it's going to save this specific contract that I've searched in my watch list. So if you're trading multiple tokens and you're, say, having a lot of trouble keeping track of, okay, what did I buy in the last 48 hours? What do I need to monitor? How much am I holding? Well, you can manage all of that here in the watch list page, right? You have your holdings value, which shows your holdings here on the far left. And this is an aggregate of all of your wallets, right? One important thing to note is if you're using the public version, the free version that we're giving codes to in this call, you only get access to one wallet. So when you create your free account, it's going to have you create a new wallet for Sensei. So that one wallet is the one wallet you could use for sniping and buying tokens. However, if you subscribe to our Plus or our Pro subscription options, it gives you the ability to have unlimited wallets. You can have 100, 200, 300, 1,000, doesn't matter. And in this watch list, you can click on these and go to holdings, and you can see all of your different wallets listed. You can scroll through them and approve and sell individual wallets one by one all through this. DJ asked what the website link we put the code into. If you search DAC in the search bar, one of the last messages I sent here in the Sensei AMA chat is a bunch of links, one of which is the suite. Reezy, you'll know it worked when you created a wallet, you connected your Discord, and you're able to access the platform and say search for a token like I'm doing here and buying a token once you have that wallet saved in there. You're not good until you generate that Sensei wallet, Anteasy. So you need to generate your wallet, connect your Discord, and once all three of those steps are done, you're in and you're ready to go. right, circling back to the watch list here. So this just makes it a lot easier to look at quick information, right? Like the market cap, the price of the tokens, how many tokens you're currently holding with all of your wallets aggregated together, and then the holdings value in ETH of each of those wallets together as well. And then from here, now that we've looked up a token, we have a couple different options, right? We have our buy menu here at the very bottom, where again, if you have Plus or Pro, you can click the drop down and you can select multiple wallets, right? I can choose 3 wallets to snipe with, and I can put in an ETH value, and I can buy with all 3 of these wallets at the same time. Alternatively, I could just have the one, or if you're using the public version, it'll automatically select the one that you've created for your Sensei DeFi public suite. And then we put in the value in ETH. You'll notice I had a lot of these already clicked in. I have 0.1 value already pasted in here. I have a slippage value of 420%. And I have a preset gas value here, pre-selected as well. Well, that's because in settings, under DeFi, we give users the ability to preset their preferred wallet to snipe with, their preferred node to snipe with, which you can save any custom node you want. Speed is my own private node. And then you can choose where you want to send the funds to or the tokens to, the value, the slippage, and all your gas settings, as well as built-in MEV bundling. Now, this is a very important feature that I'll go a little bit more in depth with later on in this call, but it's important to note that this is one of our pro-locked features. We do things a little bit different with MEV than some other bots out there. So it's important that we lock this down to the top tier subscriptions. So just know that MEV bundling is something that's only available to Pro, the one that we have built in. However, since you can use your own custom nodes, even if you're doing the free version, you can use something like Flashbots, or you can use something like a MEV blocker RPC and get a lot of the same benefits. I mean, you are going to be sacrificing some speed, but you're going to get a lot of the same benefits like not losing gas on failed transactions or avoiding sandwiches like you would with any other MEV, just by adding your own custom RPC or node. But moving back to the buy page here, so we have our default set, but I can change these values, right? So I can go here and I can change this to 0.05 ETH to purchase. On slippage, I could change this to 50% or infinite. The only reason I have it set to 420% custom, or maybe have infinite as an option, is because I use MEV built in, right? So this little shield here, for Pro users only, is literally just a toggle for MEV. If it's off and it's red, you're not connected to your MEV relayers. You're not sending these directly as bundles. However, if I click the blue icon here and it's highlighted blue for my shield, all transactions that I send through Sensei DeFi are going to be MEV. And then lastly, we have gas here, right? So you can use your custom preset, or you can choose base gas plus 10%, which will add 10% to your base and your priority fee, or 20%, which will add 20% to your base, your priority as well as your max fee. And then we just click buy. Once we click buy, you have a start button here. If I were to click start right now, it's going to buy 0.05 worth of this token at 100% slippage or infinite slippage. And then with these gas values that I have preset here. Now you might have noticed this little plus icon here on the side as well, right? So instead of just clicking buy and clicking start, I can also click this plus button and I can have limit buys and limit by market cap and limit buys by price. So this is pretty exciting because you might not want to sit and wait for your dip opportunity, right? You might have a market cap in mind that you're interested in purchasing. With most shitcoins, if we're being honest, the pricing is kind of ridiculous, right? It's like 0.00000006807, right? Pretty nuts to type that in. So most people are probably going to use the market cap option, but we do have both available to you depending on what your needs are for that particular trade. Now, we can go here to limit by market cap. Of course, we have the amount put in, how much ETH you want to spend. We have the default of 0.1 here. And then we could choose, like we want to do it when the market cap dips by 5%, by 10%, by 50%, or maybe I want to do a custom value. So I can scroll this, and you'll see the summary here on the left showing me, okay, it's going to dip by 63%, and the market cap total will be 2.238 million. If I want to buy it at 2.238 million market cap, I can just leave my dot right there on the bar, click add, click buy with monitor, and then I have a new task here, and you'll notice it has an LB for limit buy. That means it's set up for my limit buy with a market cap I preset with this option, and I can click start. And as soon as this goes down and dips to that 2 million market cap number that I was looking for, it's going to automatically trigger this task to run and buy those tokens for me valued at 0.1 ETH at that exact market cap that I was looking for. In the same way, if I have a holding, in this case, I have to approve it first. So I'm going to go to a different wallet that I already have approved, like Planet. Go to holdings here. So once I've approved a sale on my tokens here on this wallet, I have the sell button, which does exactly what you would think, where it pulls up the task, just like the buy. I can click start and I can sell the tokens here, either with MEV protection or without. Or I can click the plus button and I can choose stop losses by market cap or price. So if I'm, stepping away, I don't know if the dev is going to start selling tokens and cause like a huge sell-off event, right? Maybe I could put in, say, okay, if the price ever drops by 25% at one time, right? We'll move it to 25%. If it ever drops by 25%, then I want to get the hell out, right? It'll automatically sell my tokens once it has that huge drop of 25%. I can do a trailing stop loss percentage. So it follows that price point that it's moving with the chart. If it drops by that amount from any price point, it'll automatically sell my tokens. And then I can have take profit values in market cap and price as well. So a lot of traders here might be doing something along the lines of waiting for a 3x. And as soon as you hit a 3x, you want to sell 50% of your tokens. So you can secure your initials plus a little bit of profit on top. And then maybe sit out and ride the rest for free and see how far it goes. Well, instead of having to sit and watch the chart for the next 3 to 4 hours, you can just choose a take profit market cap that is suitable for your risk range. Click add, and it'll automatically take profit for you once it's hit that level. So it makes life quite a bit easier. Instead of having to sit and again watch the chart all day, you can play it automatically. You can put together your automatic limit buys and then your limit sells and have Sensei essentially trade for you without you having to sit here and watch the screen all day. I'm just going to take a quick peek at chat. It looks like we have Moon here helping out. Thank you so much, Moon. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to tag me. Or if anyone wants any questions on anything that I've covered already, feel free to let me know in the Sensei AMA chat. I'm taking a peek here while we're taking this break and letting you guys ask any questions. We will paste one more code. There you go. Good luck. All right, beautiful. If we don't have any more questions, I'm going to take that as a compliment that we're doing a great walkthrough. So now we have pre-approvals. So we do give you the opportunity to pre-approve any wallet you want before you even own a token. So you can search a contract address of a token that you're interested in sniping, right? And I'm going to show you guys how to snipe here in a second with Sensei. But say you're preparing for a launch and you want to snipe with really high gas as early as possible, get in that first block, and then sell extremely quickly when everyone's FOMOing in right at the beginning. Well, the best way to do that is to pre-approve your tokens, right? Because it's going to take a lot of time to approve and then sell your tokens because you're waiting for a whole nother transaction before you can even initiate your sell. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Exile. This is not a trial. Anyone who uses these codes that I send, you get access to the DeFi suite at its base form indefinitely. So just to be clear, these codes that I'm sharing are not trial codes. These are getting you into phase 1 of the beta for a public launch that we're going to launch for everybody in the future. So you're basically getting early access to our DeFi public launch. It's forever. Back to pre-approvals here. So we do give you the ability to pre-approve to kind of add to that speed, right? When you want to sell tokens right after you say purchase them. However, it's important to note that there are risks here. If you're pre-approving too early, like I've seen people pre-approve like an hour before a launch happens, well, you're pretty much screaming to the dev, hey dev, I'm going to dump your tokens. I'm going to snipe and I'm going to dump, right? Because no one pre-approves with good intentions, right? You're probably trying to make a quick buck. So what's going to happen is a lot of the time is if a dev is looking to blacklist people or avoid dumps right after the launch, they're going to blacklist your wallet, right? So you got to be really wary of this. You have to be cognizant of your timing. So it's if you're using a feature like this, it probably is best to pre-approve right before a launch happens, not an hour before. So just be prepared for that. If any of you guys get a code or start using Sensei, you got to be mindful of when you're using this tool. It can be dangerous. Now we do offer support for version 2 and version 3. So regardless of what pool it opens on, you can approve for one or the other or both if you're unsure. Now, one of the interesting value propositions of using the Pro subscription and MEV as well is the ability to have custom bundles. Now, when I say custom bundles, we do MEV a little bit differently than some other bots out there, right? The majority of bots that use MEV protection, which, just to be clear, is mainly geared towards saving you gas on failed transactions and protecting you from sandwich attacks. So when you're using MEV relayers, you're sending private transactions to these relayers where the relayers will privately communicate with the validators and the block builders and say, hey, we want to include these bundles in this transaction, and we want to put it, in this placement in the block based off of your bribe or your priority gas value. But since this is a private transaction, it's not viewable in the public mempool, meaning other MEV bots who are trying to sandwich people can't see what you're doing. So your transaction's only quote unquote viewable or seen by others when it's confirmed on chain, at which point it's impossible to sandwich because it's on chain and it's done. The reason that sandwich attacks even exist and are even possible is because the majority of users are doing stuff like sniping with Uniswap or using MetaMask, and they're using a public mempool, right? They're not using MEV protection. And these MEV bots, these sandwich bots, can monitor and see all the pending transactions. They can see what slippage you're using, and they can say, hey, here is an opportunity for me to buy before them and sell after them and screw them out of their 50% slippage they set because they're trying to buy early. But when you're using MEV, you're sending a private transaction that no one else can see. It's private between you and the relayer. So you can't really take advantage of it. You can't be sandwiched, right? So with that said, the majority of bots out there use this in the form of an RPC, which is fine most of the time, to be fair. If you're using like a MEV blocker RPC, you're going to get a lot of the same value out of it, right? You're going to still get protection from sandwich attacks, and you're still going to get protection from if your transaction fails, you don't lose any gas, right? You're going to get that with any kind of MEV protection. However, if you're trying to snipe a super hype drop, where a lot of people might be going for it, you're using any kind of RPC that a lot of other traders are using, there's chances of being rate limited, right? So even though you're getting the benefits of being protected, you tend to kind of get slowed down a little bit, right? There can only be so many winners when everyone's using the same means of communicating with MEV, right? So there's going to be some people getting the shit end of the stick, really, at the end of the day, right? You're going to get slowed down on some other parts of the RPC, and there's going to be rate limit issues where everyone's using it at the same time. So one of the ways that we have built to combat that issue is direct relay communication. Rather than through an RPC, we do it directly through the suite itself. Demon Pokey, I'll address that in 1 second, just remind me. So what happens is you actually have the ability to go in and choose your own node. So you can use a private node. You can go and pay for a quick node or even have your own private custom built Geth node if you're high level, right, and you have your own. And also have the same benefits of MEV. So you get the speed benefits of having a private custom node, but then when you send a transaction with this MEV shield on, it's sending directly to the relayers as well, all at one time. So you don't have to worry about being rate limited. You don't have to worry about everyone else using the same one, because you can use whatever node you want and communicate with MEV relayers directly through the Sensei suite. And then I see someone asking, like, can Sensei wallets get drained? Or you have to put a private key to use the bot. Yes, you have to use a private key to use any bot, right? Because you're basically giving it permission to act on its own with what you're interacting with in the suite, right? So when you're utilizing any kind of bot, you're going to have to give it private keys. Now, we do have this in the form of a web app. So you can inspect elements and you can see that we don't store your private keys on the server. We never take your private keys or see your private keys. So you are protected. It's only stored locally. And you can see that by inspecting elements since it's a website. You can see that for yourself. However, like any bot for anybody, I'm still a stranger on the internet, use burners. Don't use your main wallet with 100 ETH in or something crazy, right? You're interacting with a software suite with strangers online. Use burner accounts and transfer ETH to them when you want to do an action through your bot. Whether it's this bot or any other you're going to use, always use burners. Never use main wallets. Just a little bit of advice because you never know. At the end of the day, we're still in the wild, wild west. Trust no one, right? But we do make it pretty easy to kind of check for yourself and see where those private keys are stored. So if you'd like peace of mind, you can just go to the website and inspect elements and then see where it's all stored. We don't take your keys. So in the event that Sensei is hacked, if we get hacked and our servers get hacked, none of your private information will be shared. Just to share some peace of mind. Sorry, I'm playing catch up with the chat here. It's going pretty quick. Looks like I got Moon in here. Oh, looks like we have Impose in here helping too. Thanks, Impose. Yeah, and Demon says, I like how you have unlimited wallets for a cheap price. So that's an interesting point. You can literally even make wallets directly in the wallet manager. So if you don't even want to use your own wallets, you want to make brand new ones. And if you have the subscription, Plus or Pro, you can go here to generate new, and you can make 100 wallets, right? I just made 100, and you can just make a ton, like back to back. It's ridiculous. And then you can use our built-in disperse to disperse funds to your new burner wallets as well. So we have built-in dispersion, consolidation, ETH to WETH conversion, all built into our wallet manager if you guys ever decide to go to the subscription. All right, with that being said, there's one more thing I want to add for Mev before we start going into sniping and what the sniping function looks like. So if we go to bundling here, we have an option to add a transaction. Now, if you recall, we were just talking about pre-approvals and the risk you take of the dev seeing you pre-approve before a contract is live for sniping, right? Well, if you're using Mev, you can send things called bundles, right? So since we're communicating directly with relayers, we're not just using an RPC, we can send custom bundles of transactions. So we can say, hey, I want to send my buy transaction and I want to send my approval transaction as a combined bundle to this relayer so that the relayer, when they're communicating with the validator and the block builder, will say, hey, this guy wants to send this buy for 0.15 ETH and he wants to send this approval. Can we get them both in at the same time? And what that means is you can go here to add transaction and approve ERC20, and you can approve whatever wallet you want, right? Once I click submit, it's going to approve the wallet listed here in a bundle with your buy. So instead of flagging the dev or anyone else that you're approving your transaction before you even own the tokens, with the power of Mev, you can bundle the approval with your buy. So immediately when you receive your tokens, you can sell them, but without flagging anyone. Because again, that transaction is private until it hits the chain. So it's only going to show everybody that you have included your approval and your buy once it's completed. Which at that point, you can just go to holdings and insta sell, right? You won't have to worry about clicking approve. It'll already have the sell button there ready for you. All right, before we go into sniping, I'm going to drop one more code. Good luck. May the fastest finkies win. Are there any questions that anyone has on anything else I've covered, limit buys, limit sells, approvals, utilizing MEV and MEV bundling, feel free to shoot me an at just at DAC and let me know. Do I still need the Sensei NFT pass for the sub? Great question. Yes, technically, but maybe wait on that. Maybe we have some cool partnership ideas with Cryptic in the near future that you should wait for an announcement for. So just stay tuned. We're in talks, right? So this AMA is just kind of the first step of hopefully many steps we're going to take with you guys here in the near future. So stay tuned. Keep an eye on announcements from the team. We might have some more surprises for you here in the near future, and we might even have some even more surprises right after this call. So if you stay till the very end, you might get something cool or have a chance of getting something pretty cool.
So if you guys have any questions and like dare to speak on voice as well, you're free to raise your hands. We can also get you up on the stage. I do see one question raised, the devil. I don't know if you already asked in the chat, but I'll invite you up anyway. If you want to, if you have any questions so far.
Hi there. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, cool. So I had a question. Like, first, everything looks good. The thing wanted to ask you is because LPs are variant. I mean, LP is different for everybody. Now, is the bot actually calculating like possible price impacts as well, like whenever it's doing a buy or sell? Because that kind of also moves the market cap valuation as well. Like I mean, am I able to buy at a certain market cap or not? Or is the price is going to dip below something? I mean, the price impact, puts a big difference. Of course, unless it's a fat LP. So
That's a good
how
question.
does the
So
bot? Sure.
sorry to interrupt you there.
No,
Yeah, when it's
sure.
showing you the value here, this is including the price impact here, right? But what's important to understand is if you're doing like a buy limit, you're basically putting the trust in the bot to automatically act upon itself. So if you're buying it with a limit order and a particular market cap, right? If there's not a lot of liquidity and you're buying it at a lower market cap with your limit buy, you're trusting it to automatically buy 0.1 worth at that price point, right? So any kind of price impact you might not be aware of what's happening with that, right? But if you're selling a token, you'll see the inevitable price impact reflected here in this value in the summary. So when you go here and like say I go to the planet token and I go to sell this, it's going to give you a summary here live. It's going to refresh this every 12 seconds or every block, and it's going to show you that with the price impact included there, right? Just know that if you're doing a limit sell or a limit buy, you're basically putting trust in the bot to auto act for you. So there are risks. There's always risks in that because you're asking it to act, without your permission. Basically, you're just putting in the price point and the market cap, and you're saying go. So there could be price impacts there you're unaware of. Just something that to note. But we do summarize it if you're acting on it yourself manually. You'll see that information here.
Is there any kind of like price protection? So let's suppose, or like a buffer. So let's suppose there's a dump or some kind of MEV, even though like things didn't work out the way it was. So is there any kind of buffer or something that you could set? Like for example, if I get a better entry than a certain price, there's a possible dump that's coming through, and it detects like a possible price dip. So it buys at a better price. If you give a range, like okay, you could buy probably at a dip of like maybe a 10% dip possible from whatever place I'm trying to buy. But before let's suppose you're about to buy, or it's reaching the price, but then it sees a potential dump at that part of price. Does the bot buy or has the ability to buy at a dump, or it will only buy at a certain price point?
Yeah, so you can choose, like, say, to buy a specific market cap and a specific price for now. You can play around with this and make multiple buy tasks. So, like, you could say you could do one at 10%, right? Buy with monitor. You could do another one at, you put that 10% value and then just do it slightly more at 15%. And you could do different ETH values for now. We do have plans in the future of maybe making like price ranges We just need to make sure that when we do that, we're cognizant of users' gas and we estimate that and kind of show it appropriately. Because if you're buying something like a 0.03 or 0.02 value over the course of like 6 or 7 buys, well, you're spending a lot of gas and you might be screwing yourself on that opportunity. So we want to make sure when we build something out like that with like buffers and ranges that it makes sense. Because if you're buying it within ranges or windows, it's going to do it with gas every single time. Or maybe are you asking more for kind of like the trailing stop loss but inverted? Is that what you mean, or
No,
did I
no,
answer your
not
question
the stop
incorrectly?
loss. No, not the stop loss. More like, you're looking for entry at a
Mm-hmm.
specific time, but of course, you do have some people selling. I mean, we're talking typical shit coins. I'm not talking, more heavy fat liquidity. I'm talking shit coins because whenever you're launching something or you crash into something, the movements are pretty absurd. So sometimes you're kind of projecting a possible area of buy, but sometimes you might get a better entry. So that's probably why I was bringing up this question.
That's an
So
interesting point. And when I say like the trailing stop loss but inverted, this is me. I'm literally spitballing here. We're doing this live. But if you go here and you go like the trailing stop loss, what this is doing
mhm.
is it's looking for a dump of 50% at any given time from any given price point to sell your tokens. Well, we could take that same logic and invert it and say, okay, if someone dumps enough to drop the price 50%, I want to buy it. And we could invert this logic into a buy task. Maybe that would help answer kind of what you're asking
can
for.
can a trading stop loss be front run? Like if there's a transaction or big value transaction is sense like which is probably gonna definitely hit the stop loss. Can the bot like front run and exit before before it hits?
For that, it's all gas based. We could
Right,
we could maybe implement the ability to look at pending transactions and auto front run that, but that gets really
right,
dangerous when you're working with a lot of different users because
yeah, of course,
if you and like 100 other people are setting the same stop loss,
right.
which can happen if you're using something like fibs or something, right? If someone's using the same charting as you are, and then everybody is trying to outbid each other, you might lose more in gas than you gain in the loss there.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
But then I mean, there's ETH, there's BSC, there's ARB, so
Yeah, we're
there's
we're
other
playing
things
around
as
with
well.
different ideas on this.
Right.
Um, but you bring an interesting point. I think we could probably play with that for like buying with percent drops. But for now, the way we've set it just for safety until we figure out maybe better implementation is being able to
Mhm.
preset your own gas. So you can do a preset of high gas, and that way it's kind of a blind auction. So like maybe you want to set your stop loss with a 300 priority Gwei, right? Maybe you're selling,
Right.
like 3 ETH or something higher. You can
Hmm.
set pretty high priority with your preset and then set it up that way. So that way, like for me, I set mine at like 2 and 300. Maybe I'll change that after this call because I'm publicly saying that. But you
No.
can put in whatever custom value you want as your priority and your max gas to front run others. But in terms of like monitoring pending, we want to be very
Mhm.
careful on how we implement that since this is a public
Right.
tool.
Any sort of scanners that is in there, which kind of like gives you a kind of heads up, like especially like those dynamic blocks, like if you see a
Mhm.
dynamic block manually put in across like 10 or something, you know. So is there a way you could escape, or it detects and it kind of reverse instead of like going in?
we're 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 playing around. This is, I guess, it's a little bit of alpha. I'm not going to say too much, but we are implementing like
Okay.
the ability to look at simulating pending blocks, and look at a multitude of different things, right? So like DexSpy is a great example. They have a great
Hmm.
implementation on looking at owner transactions and pending transactions from the owner. I think we could do that, but at like a different level, right? So if you look at show trades, it shows all of the trades that have been completed and are on chain. Well, imagine a world where you could have maybe these buys and sells in a module over here on the right side, but also at the very top, you have all of the pending orders and the gas they're pushing. And then maybe a filter or a highlight for owner transactions. And then if you're seeing those, you can front run them with whatever gas you want. Now, this is most definitely, if we do something like this, it's going to be a pro feature. We can't give this to everybody. But that is something we're experimenting with. If you have used our NFT
Right.
bot in the past, you might have seen our front runner bot that can look at pending transactions and automatically add Gwei on top of those transactions and beat them and front run them. we've already built that technology in our Mint bot. So we have the framework done. We just need to make sure that when we put it in the DeFi bot, we incorporate it in a way that makes sense with the book system, with owner tracking, and front running the right types of transactions. Like in your case, I think you mentioned like there's a big dump coming, right? Maybe you see a pending transaction for a 10 ETH dump, and you want to front run them by 1 GUI. That's something we definitely can do. It's just something we'll probably lock to pro only.
No worries. That's fine. Thank you so much for answering. Cryptic invited me, so I was like, okay, let me just come over. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All
Any other
right.
questions out there before we go down the sniping rabbit hole?
Yeah, actually, I will allow one more question to the person who raised their hand, but let me just fix this. Move to audience and then ethemic. Just one question, okay? Let's try to keep it to one question so that we have to move forward as well. I invited you to speak, ethemic.
Yo.
Hello.
Hey.
The question was, I asked it in the chat, so I've got hay fever, so I'm struggling right now. Is how does this speed compare to other snipers in the market at the moment?
Well, this is direct communication to your node and your private keys. So it's instantaneous in a matter of milliseconds. So with the right node, it's the fastest, right? But it's all at the end of the day regarding what tools you're using in terms of like the node and the APIs, right? But we interact directly with private keys. We interact directly with MEV relayers, and we interact directly with your own private nodes. So it, in terms of like possible speed, we've hit the edge already. At the end of the day, the speed then is based on what node you choose, right? Because we've already implemented the private keys and all the tools necessary to have instant response in the milliseconds directly to chain. But at the end of the day, if you have a slow node, you're still going to be slow. But if
And
you're
can
using your
we
own private
purchase
node,
a private
it's immediate.
node through yourselves, or what was?
Well, we offer a free one. It's called Sensei Node. If
Yeah.
you use our Plus or our Pro subscription, you get that for free, which is basically Trippy Node, which is faster than mainnet. But if you go to like Quick Node and you pay for your own direct one, it's still going to be less traffic at the end of the day because, even though we provide you a node, other bots or other subscription people might be going for the same hype drop. And then we kind of go back to that same thing I mentioned before with rate limiting and everyone going for the same thing using the same tool. So if you really want to have an edge, it's always best to buy your own private node, and we give you the ability to add that yourself into the nodes menu here. I would show you the settings, but then it would show the URLs of all my nodes, so I can't do that live. But
No, that's fine.
we do have it in settings. So to answer your question in short, everything should be instant and in a matter of milliseconds, as long as your node is fast enough.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks.
Of course.
All righty, thank you for the question. Okay, we do have two more questions. So like Blake and Toxic, try to keep it really to one question so that afterwards we move forward to the sniper as well.
Speed
So
round.
I'm gonna get you up on the stage, Blake. You can join now if you want to. You can join up. Okay, maybe he went AFK, so let's see. So Toxic, where are you? Okay, Toxic, I invited you to speak as well.
Hello.
Hello.
I wanted to ask if you have the bribing function on the bot.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
You have
Anything specific, or do you want to have like a walkthrough of it real quick?
Like bribing the block,
Yep. Yeah, you could just add transaction here, and you go to bribe, and you bribe value, right? So I could do like 1.5 ETH. I want to do this from this transaction or this wallet, and submit, and then I have bribe here in my transaction. So you can not only add your approval, but you can add a bribe to your MEV transactions as well on top, and you can stack them.
Oh, that's cool, man. Okay. Yeah.
And for those out there who don't understand bribing, it's basically just a simplified version of priority gas. That's the easiest way to explain it. You can bribe the relayer directly in ETH rather than having to do calculations on how much gas you're paying. So normally you're thinking about like, okay, I need to push 1,000 prio. Well, you're like, well, what the hell is that going to be in ETH? You have to do the math and you have to calculate it to understand it. When you're doing a bribe, you could just type in an ETH value, right? Like I'm willing to risk 0.5 to get in early. Great, 0.5, go. But we do have it built in.
And have you tested this? Like, does it work?
Oh, constantly. Yeah, this is like
Alright.
we've been using this for like 2 months now. This has been pretty well ironed out, knock on wood.
Okay. That's all, I think. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, we had a bunch of users hit super early on stuff like 4, on Goner, using bribes. And most of our pro users use bribes, excuse me, because it's simpler to use than calculating priority gas. It's a lot easier.
All right, sounds good. So, oh yeah, I can see
Before we go ahead, I want to ask one question. Yes, so I was reading through the docs. There is a Sensei DeFi free tier list. So if I want to access the bot now, if I don't have the codes, so how we go about doing that?
Well, currently you have to own one of the Sensei passes. I hear an echo. Am I crazy?
Oh yeah, sir, mute your mic. If you can.
All right, thank you. So you have to own the Sensei Pass currently, and then we have different pricing options, right? This is actually 0.1 a month, not 0.15 a month right now for Sensei Plus, and then you have Sensei Pro at 0.5 a month with owning a pass. But like I kind of hinted at earlier, if you're a Cryptic member, maybe wait for an announcement or information. We might be doing something special for you guys, so keep an eye out. But typically, that's the route you'd have to take. You'd have to own one of our passes from OpenSea, and then by owning a pass, you unlock the ability to get access Sensei Plus or Sensei Pro. Alternatively, if you get one of the codes that I'm sharing for public access, you don't need any of that. You don't need to pay anything. You don't have to have a pass. You automatically get access to the base functionality of everything that I'm showing today, with the only caveat being it does incur a 0.99% transaction fee per swap. But again, just kind of keep an eye out. There might be some information and announcements coming very soon where you guys might get something cool. So maybe if you're considering getting it, just wait a little bit longer.
All right. Honestly, it's so much to go through for Sensei DeFi, but I also I think it's important to note that they do have you can snipe V3, right? Uniswap V3.
Yeah, I'm going to show how that works here in a second when we go through the sniper, yeah. But if that is the last question we had pending, I can go ahead and do the sniper walkthrough. Is that all right?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Oh, I see Untamed saying DAC. What's up? Oh, you cannot yet check your node latency in the app, Daemon, no. Just to give you a short answer, we don't have like a latency checker. We just have the ability to add your own custom nodes and utilize them within the suite. Nothing that actually checks or benchmarks them yet. Does the bribe bundle all your wallets? That's a very good question, Untamed. I'm glad you asked that. So if you're doing a task here, right, and I go to edit my task and I select multiple wallets in here, right? Maybe I'm doing 4 wallets and I click save task. This is a 4 wallet transaction now, right? And if I add a bundle, it's going to add a bundle for this task by itself, right? Let me delete the noise here. So this task has 4 wallets. So in essence, it has 4 transactions. This right here is going to have 1 bribe to pay them all. So now you have to understand how effective gas works, right? Because a 1 ETH bribe for 1 transaction is a lot different than a 1 ETH bribe for 4 transactions. Because when you're bribing a relayer who is communicating this to the validator and the block builder again, they're going to think about effective gas. So a 1 ETH bribe for 1 wallet is basically the same thing as a 4 ETH bribe for 4 wallets. So you have to understand that when you're creating your bribe, if you're running multiple wallets. But this is kind of a cool way, like if you have, maybe a couple friends that you trade with constantly, and one of you has Sensei Pro. Well, you can choose Sensei Pro for that one person. Your friends can give you the private keys to those wallets, and then you can bribe all of your friends' wallets in one bundle with 1 bribe altogether. That is an option. Just understand the idea of effective gas, because you are going to have to up your bribe the more transactions you're adding to that bundle. But it is possible. I'm glad you asked that, Entane. That was a great question. But if that's it, we will get started with the sniper, because I have a couple more things I want to show you. I don't want to take up all day for everybody. Try to be quick here. So in terms of the sniper, you have your address here, which is going to be the same address you type up here at the top, right? So if I erase this and I have nothing here, when I click paste on a contract address and I click snipe, it's going to auto load the address that I've put in. Typically, if you're setting up a sniper, it's going to say no pair found, right? Because the whole point of you setting up a sniper is to prepare for a token drop before it happens, before it's live for trading. So that pair is not going to be available. So when I click the sniper button, I have the address filled in here automatically for me. And then we have venues. So we just had the question asked, do we support version 3? Well, you can actually choose both. So one thing that's really cool about our sniper task is if you're going in blind and you have no idea if it's going to be a version 2 or a version 3 pool, you can actually select both pools and run both at the exact same time. So only one is obviously going to have the pool filled and open up for trading. So that's going to be the only task that fires. You can run both parallel at the same time with the same wallet. Only one's going to go through and the other one's going to sit idle. So if you're trying to plan for an opportunity where you're kind of going in blind, you have no idea, just select both and it'll run both tasks at the same time. I'm going to do both here for this example so you see what it looks like when I hit confirm. And then when we go to wallets, again, if you're just using Sensei Public, you're just going to have your one wallet to choose. But with our Plus and Pro, you can choose an infinite amount of wallets, like we said before. And then we have Snipe Method. So typically, you're going to do exact ETH, right? This is your normal snipe where you're just saying, I want to buy X amount of ETH worth immediately when it opens. In this case, I have 0.25 here because it's my default. But like anything, I can reset this and change it to whatever value I want. Now, if you for some reason have a block like dead blocks, or the dev warns and says, hey, blocks 1 and 2 are going to have a 99% sales or buy tax to stop snipers from jumping in and sniping this contract. Well, all you got to do is select 2. Cool, GG, done. So we give you the ability to count dead blocks. Now, this is a MEV function here. So we're using MEV to incorporate this block delay because MEV bundles, when they're sending these proposals to the validators, they are proposing what block it's going to be put in. So whenever your bot triggers, it's going to record that specific block that it's triggering in, right? And at the same time, it's going to count and say, okay, if I'm triggering on block 1 and there's 2 dead blocks, then I want to go on block 3. So it's going to do the block delay here. It's going to add whatever number you've input as your add-on block delay, and it's going to add that to the time that it reverts or triggers your buy transaction. And then the MEV bundle is going to be proposed on the exact block outside of that window. In short, that just means if a dev is boasting dead blocks, or like they're going to blacklist people who snipe on the first 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 blocks, or they're going to have a huge tax, you just set it up, right? Which actually gives you an advantage, ironically, as a bot, because all of the manual people are just going to wait for there to be volume and be like, oh, it's safe, I can buy now. But if you're using a bot with an automatic block delay, you can kind of take advantage of that and snipe it immediately and be part of that initial volume that everyone's going to FOMO in on top of when they see people buying. So a huge, huge benefit here with block delay and dead blocks. On top of that, we have exact tokens and exact supply percentage. These are both used if there's a max limit set by the dev, right? If they say you can only snipe 1,000 tokens, or you can only snipe 0.5% of supply on launch. Well, instead of having to do that math and input it yourself into, like, say, custom settings, you just put in the token amount here. Cool, I want 1,000 tokens. And then you put in your value in ETH. And then the same thing in exact supply. I can say I want 1% of tokens. It'll do the math for you and give you your token value. And then you put in the amount in ETH. Now, when you're putting in an ETH value, you might be wondering, well, wait, what if 1% is worth 0.02 instead of 0.05? Am I going to overpay? No. You're going to get refunded the difference back. It's only going to use however much it needs based off of this ETH value you put here. Now, what's important to understand is this is basically your max range, your limit that you're willing to pay. So if for some reason 1% of these tokens is worth 0.06, well, then my transaction's actually going to revert and fail because I put in a max value of 0.05 and I didn't meet that requirement of 0.06 for the value of tokens I'm trying to purchase. So just be wary of that. This is basically what I like to think of as like a risk tolerance field. However much you're willing to pay for the amount of tokens that you've inputted is your value you put here. It could be under, but it cannot be over. And slippage, you do see 420% here. That's just because, again, that's what I set as my custom value. That's what I use for slippage all the time, just because why not? But you can select infinite slippage, 50%, 10%, 5%, or you can set your own custom value and you can type in whatever you want. Gas, you can do the same thing. You have your quick clicking options, or you can click edit and you can put in your preferred priority, max, and gas limit. Yeah, Demon, I do really high slippage because I use MEV, so it doesn't matter. So when you're sniping super, super early on a token open, higher slippage is technically better, but it's really, really sketchy if you're not using MEV. If you are using MEV, you're not really risking being sandwiched, so you only get the benefits of high slippage. You don't really get the negatives. But if you're sniping without MEV, yeah, don't do 420%. Don't do infinite. Do like 50% max, in my opinion, if you're not using MEV. Oh, now I feel bad. Yep, I'm a dad, by the way, Demon. I should have gotten that joke. Jesus. All right, I'm gonna remember that. That's actually pretty good. I'm gonna drop a code in here just because that was awesome. We're gonna drop a code for Demon's dad joke. There you go. And then we have revert check here. Revert check is an interesting method of kind of, in essence, doing the same thing that you would think flip state would do. What that means is revert check is basically every single second running a simulation on the next block. And it's checking to see, am I going to be able to buy this token in the next block? As soon as that value returns back yes, your task will trigger and go on. Effectively, revert check, which is checked by default, is like easy mode flip state for people. It gives people the ability to run a sniper bot without having to understand solidity or how to look at the contract and understand, okay, is add liquidity going to be the flip state? Is set trading going to be the flip state? Are they going to run a multi-call that's going to activate this, that, and this that I need to monitor for flip state to move forward? You don't have to know any of that. You can just click revert check and it'll automatically ping for you every single second and snipe immediately when it's available to snipe. If you have a good node, you can make that even faster, right? So 1,000 milliseconds or 1 second for every ping is the default, and it works on pretty much every node. But if you're using your own private node or something fast, you could do something like, I don't know, like 100 milliseconds if you're crazy, right? So this is going to every 10 times per second ping and see if I can hit on the next block. 10 times a second. So again, it all depends on how fast your node is, but you can really, really up this speed depending on what your goals are. Something like 500 is a pretty safe bet for 9 times out of 10 opportunities. So pretty easy. But if you do want to set flip state, you can in fact check it. You can use custom contract addresses. You can use custom hexes, which is very useful if the contract is not verified and you want to run a flip state on a contract that doesn't have a verified say write task. I know a lot of you guys use Tough in here. That can be an amazing tool for searching a contract and looking at an unverified contract, looking at all of the different functions that are available in their hex format, and then finding the flip state in hex value and copying that hex here. So you can actually use Tough with something like Sensei to put in the method hex for a certain flip state function. If you are doing some high level botting, right? Just an option there. And we can click add task, and you'll notice I have 2 tasks here. One with a snipe for version 2 and one with a snipe for version 3. And like everything else, it's all color coded. You saw my sell before was red, my buys are green, and my snipes are in blue. So it's pretty easy to differentiate if you have multiple tasks kind of pending or waiting to be used within your suite. In this case, we have version 2 and version 3. So what you would do is if this token hadn't launched yet, you would click start on both version 2 and version 3. and run both of them side by side. And then what's going to happen is whatever pool they open up on, whichever one comes back with a revert first, is going to trigger the task, and it's going to let it run on one or the other. Sorry, I'm just playing catch up with chat. I see I have a ping here. Oh, I think I actually answered your question, Juan, as you were asking it. Blake asked, how frequently will more features and updates be added to the bots with how dynamic and fast the space is? Well, for reference, we made everything that I'm showing you today in a month from scratch. We do, on average, like 3 updates a day. And we're very active with multiple trading communities and take quite a lot of feedback very seriously on what updates might need to happen throughout the cycle of, say, DeFi and the meta changing. So we like to think we're very cognizant of the market and market needs, and we pivot pretty fast based off of them. And I hope that you see with everything I'm showing you today, and we're not even done yet, that everything built here, everything that I'm showing you, again, we did in about 1 month. So you can imagine how far we'll go with another month of development now that we have the base format established here. Oh, sorry, Corey. I'm going to go back and check. Sorry, I missed that. Let's see. If I set a 0.05 ETH buy to buy 1%, however, because I'm late, 1% equals 0.1 ETH. Can the bot be programmed in the way to still buy 0.05 worth despite 1% being more than 0.05 ETH? The logic is that we still want to get in because we still want to be considered early. Once the snipe is reverted, we are technically late. So it's a good question, Corey. It's not going to do it intelligently and automatically as you stated, but there is a way around that. What you can do is run multiple tasks, right? So you have one task running with exact ETH at 0.05, and you add that task, and then you run another task with your exact tokens with your 1,000 value at 0.05, and then you run that at the same time in parallel. By doing that, it's allowing it to automatically pend and purchase when that 0.05 is available, as long as it happens within the first couple blocks, but at the same time, sniping the exact amount of tokens that you're looking for. You just understand that there is a small risk that you're going to double down and get 0.1 worth, but it is something you can combat and kind of create a contingency for by using multiple tasks. I hope that made sense, because I did say that in like speed mode. The espresso is starting to kick in. All right, perfect. But that basically breaks down the sniping, the snipe bot and how you set it up. We made it pretty easy for most people to utilize. It's pretty easy to set up and get started with. Just for clarity, this sniping option is available for the public DeFi access for you guys, right? We're only leaving this available to the people who are getting access in the private beta. We're not launching this for everybody in the future. So just be cognizant of that. It's just really important I'm transparent here. This is a launch bonus, right? So that snipe task that I showed you guys on setting up for new tokens that are coming out, with you guys being a part of the beta, we're giving it to you as a bonus, and you will keep that as long as we're in season 1. Once we release DeFi public to the masses, to everybody, it is going to be locked down to Sensei Plus and Sensei Pro, but you guys can play with that until that day comes. We haven't set a concrete date yet for that. It's whenever we feel confident that we've received enough feedback from our private beta participants, and we've seen enough feedback in the different Discords and high-level trading groups on people utilizing and testing the DeFi public application before we unleash it to the world, right? So once that's unleashed and we send it out to everybody, that snipe task will become locked down to the subscription tiers. So enjoy it in the meantime. It's just a gift from us for being a part of the beta program. We do not run any advertisements in the bots. Our revenue is sub-based, and then will also be based off of this 99 or 0.99% fee. Those are the only points of revenue that we have currently. We're not really looking to bloat the software quite yet. Maybe we could have fun in the future with like a marketplace tab, but it's always our goal to make the suite as efficient as possible in terms of the space used and the experience the user has is very important to us. So we don't want to like bloat the main page with any kind of advertisements. But maybe we could do something in the future with like a marketplace option with partners where you can get like discount links and stuff. That could be pretty cool, as long as it's not like in everyone's face. Exactly. Find out. It's pretty much the same kind of idea as Maestro, where it's per transaction. I think I have to double check with the team. We're trying to be careful on what value that comes out as. Like if you're doing like a 0.01 transaction, I don't think we're going to take that fee. I think it's anything above 0.01 that will take that 0.99% fee. It's important that we make sure it's gas efficient, right? So we're going to be very careful on the value. So it depends on how much you spend on your transaction, if you're even going to see that fee. If you're doing super, super small transactions, we're probably not going to take it out, to be honest. I think Maestro does the same. Just because it's not gas efficient, it doesn't make sense for the user. All right, alpha time. I'm going to show you guys something pretty cool that we're playing around with. And feedback is always open. We'd love to hear it because this is not even brand new. This doesn't even really technically exist yet in main. We're going to start probably talking about this on our Twitter maybe later today or tomorrow. So you guys are going to get a sneak peek here on our Telegram bot. So when you hear Telegram bot, you might think, oh, it's a bot you can control in Telegram. No. What this does is it monitors Telegram. So you put in your phone number and log into your Telegram through the bot here. And then it gives you the opportunity to choose a channel filter. So you can choose different channels you're in Telegram, including multiple at one time, and you can monitor them and look at information that's coming through and take information and act on it very quickly. So for instance, I have only admin linked here, right? So that means I'm only going to see messages from admins that come in. So if an admin message comes in my Sensei testing channel, like, let's see. Let me see if I can get this rolling. Do a quick refresh and we'll pull it up here. So you see someone just sent a message and it's an admin and it includes a contract address and it says test token dropping and it has that contract address in the message from the admin. It automatically detects this as a contract address from this Telegram. And then I can now load this chart and see if it's live. And if it's something that's not live yet, I can click snipe and it'll automatically fill in my snipe task for me. So to put this in perspective, since this is loading directly from Telegram, it takes about a half a second from the moment that the admin actually sends the message in Telegram to you getting it in your Telegram sniping bot. So in a half a second, if I have, again, I'm going to do it one more time. If I have someone send a message here, like that, okay, it's in, great. I'm going to snipe. I'm going to click add task. I'm going to click start. So from the moment that they send the contract address, 1 second later, I can be pending my transaction for that contract. And this is only version 1. So yeah, to your point, find out, we could create auto sniping abilities, right? Maybe the pro users could have the ability to have it monitoring all admin messages. And if an admin were to share a contract, it'll automatically pull the snipe up, automatically pre-fill my slippage, my gas, and my ETH value, just like it's already done here with my settings. And then it'll add the task and snipe it for me immediately. This is just phase 1. So we have quite a bit of ideas on how we can expand this. Imagine a world where you can search certain terminology, or not certain terminologies, like certain tickers. So maybe I'm interested in Nihao, right? I can search that ticker and I can check all of my main alpha groups and I can see which admins have talked about it, how many people are talking about it, or I can keep it on as a monitor and see when people start talking about it. This could be a gauge for like you basically gauging the bullishness of an opportunity based on how many groups are talking about something. And with that aggregated interest, you can automatically have the summary up here and load the token and snipe it based off of that information. So there's a lot of crazy stuff we can do with this. But we're going to be public about this in the next probably the next 24 hours. I'm not 100% sure. We've done some testing now for a couple days, and it's pretty solid. If there's more than one contract, it'll automatically organize it for you. So like I could put in another contract here in the Telegram from another admin, and it separates them for you. So you can click on them and load in between them. So I can load this one, looks like massage, and I can load this one, and then we have Nihao. So it's going to automatically aggregate and organize them for you at the top. Neem, again, I said this before, just wait for an announcement. We might have some special goodies for stuff. For clarity, yeah, you do have to be whitelisted for pro typically, but we might have some goodies for you guys in the near future. So just keep an eye on announcements. You'll know more soon. Just keep an eye out. We'll have some more information on that. Don't worry too much about being whitelisted right now. Any questions on the Telegram bot that I may have missed? I saw some messages kind of piling in when I showed it. And then we have one more thing to show you, and then I'll stop taking all your time. I know we've been here forever here. All right, let me check here. Do we need to use a dummy number, or is it safe to use main numbers? Is there a ban risk? Which feature will be locked on official release? Okay, so you do not need to use a dummy number. It's up to you, I guess. But we're using the official Telegram API. We're not doing anything illegal or broken. We're using their API. So it should be just fine to use this with your regular login. I can't imagine an issue unless there's something that I'm not aware of. We're not doing anything nefarious or illegal. We're using their public API, so it shouldn't be a problem. Which features will be locked on official release for the Telegram bot? Since we're just now finishing beta, we're not 100% sure, to be honest with you. We're not 100% sure if we're going to give this to the public or if we're going to lock it to just pro. We might, a lot of the time, what we'll do is we'll unlock a feature like this just for pro to use first, and then we see how broken it is, how people start utilizing it. Is it safe to unlock for a bunch of people? And then sometimes what we'll do is we'll trickle down, right? We'll give all features to pro first, regardless. If you're a pro subscriber, you're basically guaranteed to get everything no matter what. You don't have to worry about it. And then if we think that it's okay to share with some more people, we might trickle it down to Sensei Plus, right? The next subscription tier, the little bit cheaper one. And if it still seems okay and we feel confident in giving it to everybody, we might release it to the public. But I don't think we're probably not going to give the Telegram bot to public. It's a little too broken to give to everybody. It's still up in the air, but that's probably a feature we're going to lock to Plus and Pro, if not just Pro, or something like this, because this can be a bit overpowered, to be honest, if too many people have it. That's one reason we have the load button versus the snipe button, Corey. So if you click load, you see it's already live. Well, great. You already have your presets here at the bottom. Click buy, click start. Right? Super easy. So you just load it. Your presets are in, buy, start. If it's not available yet, then you'll see a warning label in the chart and it'll say pair not available. If it says pair not available, then you'll click the snipe button. So we made it pretty easy to check. You can load it. Is the token live? Yes or no? No? Great. Snipe. Snipe, add task, start. Easy peasy. Is there an option to transfer funds from other wallets to ours? Yes. If you go into the wallet manager, we have built-in dispersion and built-in consolidation. So you can disperse to multiple wallets at one time built in. You can do consolidation directly from multiple wallets into your main wallet. And we also have DeFi custom settings where you can have it automatically send your purchase tokens to a different wallet for you if you're purchasing. Wallet tracking. Great question. So that is a great segue into our portfolio mode. All right. So this is also in beta and version 1 of our beta, but we have a configure wallets option where you can add tracker wallets, right? And you can put in a wallet address of a wallet that you want to track, and then you can name that wallet and you can save it here. And it'll list it here at the very top for your tracked wallets, and you can see kind of what's going on with these tracked wallets, right? Now, in version 1, this is more of a profitability and a tracker to see what tokens they're holding. It's not going to send you alerts quite yet, but we're exploring the idea of like an alert system that can alert you when certain tokens are bought by certain wallets. For now, it's more of just like a portfolio viewer, right? And then on top of that, if you go to configure wallets and you go to personal, you can select individual wallets that are saved in your wallet manager, right? And then you can save them in here to look at your profitability for different tokens. So like you can search them. Like if I sniped Love the other day, I was one of the first like 15 or 20 people that was able to claim Love and buy it quickly. So I like was just playing around and I bought 0.1 and then I just swing traded it to 0.288, right? I made a quick 0.2 ETH or a 201% return on Love, right? Or I can search like a bigger trade, right? I did Goner. I went kind of crazy on Goner. I made like 6 ETH on this one. And say like, oh, this is a 2,000% gain. I want to brag about this. I'd like to share this with some other people. Great. We'll click share. And then we have a profile image that we can share with other people. We're playing around with different aesthetics that we could use here. I don't know. Let us know what you think, if you think this looks cool or not. We're kind of open, maybe playing around with different design ideas. Because again, this is version 1 of the beta. But if you want to share your profitability, you can copy this to your clipboard. You can click save image and it will save it directly to your downloads. Or, excuse me, you can post to Sensei Wins, which is our winning Discord channel where you can share your wins on different, NFT mints or say different trades or token snipes. So you'll be able to post these wins directly in the Discord. We're playing around with some fun ideas on how we can gamify this with like a point system. Maybe higher profits and more profit sharing gives you more points. And then we do a raffle at the end of the month for like a free Sensei pass or like an ETH or something. We're open to ideas, but we're playing around with different ways we can gamify this when we officially launch it for everybody. But should be pretty cool. Yeah, Corey, we're actually building out QR code that we're probably going to fill in here on the left. And then the referral codes and links and stuff that we'll have, kind of like Bybit, where it'll be like a referral system. But we're still experimenting on the best way to do that. But that's why you kind of have a perfect square right here. That would be a perfect place for like a QR code, right? So we're playing around with design ideas. This is, again, version 1 of a super early beta. So you guys are seeing something that is incredibly fresh, very new. Kind of the base skeleton of our idea here. Any questions on really anything I covered? Because this about sums it up. So I don't take another hour of your time going into crazy details. This has basically been the general breakdown of the primary functions that we have to offer with about 1 month of work so far. So I foresee a lot more happening in the next 30 days. We're probably going to have quite a bit more coming out. There's a couple things that we already have lined up that I haven't even mentioned on this call. We have to have some surprises in the near future. But if there's any more questions on any more of going through the portfolio or anything under task mode, you can at me now or you can request to speak. We can get you up here on the call as well.
Yeah, Dak, I got a question. So in the sniper mode, there are 2 things, revert check and flip state. Are those same speed or different?
Well, flip state is technically instant. Oh, sorry, can you mute real quick? I'm getting the echo. So flip state is going to be instant regardless, right? Revert check is technically based off of your node speed because that's what we're using to ping to check to see if you can hit. But if you check both of them at the same time, then you're kind of getting the best of both worlds anyway. So if you know what you're doing with flip state, you know how to find the flip state, I recommend just keeping both checked, and it'll just check both. Whichever one it hits first, it'll launch and it'll push your transaction through. But flip state can be faster than revert check depending on what kind of node you're using. Revert check's just way easier for people who don't know how to look for flip state.
Okay, so regarding the node, like if I buy the Pro version 0.5 ETH per month, so do I get a node exclusive to me, or it is just the Sensei node?
Well, I wouldn't say exclusive to you. It's shared by all the other subscribers. It's called Sensei Node. But you do get the access to that, right? That'll be accessible to anyone with a subscription. Now, I guess in a way it's somewhat exclusive because our Sensei Node does have multiple locations. So we have it in Asia, we have it in the US, and we have nodes in Europe. So you'll ping to the closest one using Sensei Node. So it's not just like one node, one location, technically speaking. But if you're using something like Pro, it might be still worth getting like a private quick node where you don't have to worry about sharing it with others. You could be even faster. But it all depends on what you're willing to do, what you're comfortable with. A lot of people will use Sensei Node first and then maybe upgrade after they make a couple wins later on, right? It's not something that's like absolutely needed. It can just make your life a bit easier for hitting. And I see your question, Anti-Easy. I'll address that here in a second. We do have anti-rug. I'll show you in a minute. But did I answer your question before I move on to the next one?
Yeah. Okay, one more thing. I see that you only support few chains like ETH, ARB, and Canto. So you extending it to BSC in the coming days?
Well, we actually support any EVM. So any RPC that you can save in your MetaMask, we technically support because we're EVM compatible. But for BRC, I don't want to go too deep into that. We are exploring opportunities. We'll say that.
Okay.
But we understand the need. We understand what people are looking for, and I don't want to say too much because we're still experimenting and playing, but we're cognizant of it. We know. Does personal internet download upload speed matter? Always. Yeah, fast internet is faster connection for anything, for any kind of web application. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you have to have gigabit, right? You could have like okay internet and just be as good off as someone with gigabit. Really, it's like your ping that matters. So having good ping and decent enough download and upload is fine. But you don't have to have anything crazy. Like you're not going to need fiber optic to beat everybody. You can have standard cable with a decent ping and just be just as good as anyone else. Or yeah, like Neem said, you could have your own VPS and go hard that way. Anti-rug, that was a great question. That is something we completely glossed over, and I think it's an important thing to cover here. So Anti-Easy, thanks for bringing that up. We do have anti-rug here built in. Ours is an intelligent version of anti-rug. It's not looking for a million things at one time. It's not looking for individual like tax changes. It's not looking for liquidity pools. It's doing a pending revert check in the same way that the snipe bot does, but backwards, right? So it's checking the pending block saying, hey, am I going to be able to sell these? And if it ever returns back no, then it's going to automatically sell your tokens. So if I click create here and I click start, it's just going to keep running and check to see if it's going to not be able to sell in the next block. And it's going to automatically trigger and run with the gas that I've put in here to pull basically all my funds out before the dev rugs. Now, you might want to do higher gas for an anti-rug transaction, right? You might want to do like, 500 prio or something higher, especially depending on how many how much funds you have sitting in this opportunity. Just because some devs, when they are rugging, they're going to rug with really high prio. So just be cognizant of that. You can kind of choose here whatever value you want, whatever you're comfy with. And again, if you're using MEV, you don't have to worry about losing that gas if it does fail and you end up getting screwed. But it is worthy of doing higher gas probably for something like this. And of course, once we look at our implementation of pending transactions, there'll be opportunities here for front running the dev with +1 GUI or whatever to make it a little bit better in the future.
All right. I think we are a couple of people are already dropping out, and we did go a bit over our regular AMA time, so I think it's just so much to learn about Sensei. So do check the pins that we have pinned in the AMA channel. We also shared them on Telegram today and Twitter, so you can learn more. And some of you guys have already gotten the codes, so you will probably go and explore that. Yeah. Any last words, Zach?
No, just thank you guys so much for having me. It's been great. A bunch of amazing questions. You guys have been awesome. I'm going to paste one more code here for the very end for one last person to take home. Good luck, and may the fastest fingies win. And again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. It's been great.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
I'd also just like to say like a couple more words as well, which is that as time passes and as you guys are basically in a beta, like you said, you haven't released yet officially, people will try it out, right? And then as people try it out and you onboard more and more members, you will also get more and more feedback that way as well. And as we will try it as well, we will also see how exactly everything works, what the speeds are, what the functions are, and when that proper exploring will happen, right? Like I feel like that's when the bot can really flourish, right?
Mm-hmm.
After receiving that kind of feedback. So yeah, that's why probably there is no hyper technical questions yet, but they might come, right?
Oh, for sure. It's all an evolution game. I'm very excited to see what happens in like 3-4 months from now. Right, we're only 30 days in, and we've come a pretty long way. I think it's gonna start getting crazy the further down the road we go. So it's gonna be a fun journey.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for the code so far. Yeah, excited to see how people are gonna test it, how they will react.
Awesome. Thanks again for having me, everyone. Hope everyone has a good one. Bye, guys.